Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today is January 18, 2025. I am not at home right now, I'm on vacation, but I want to share something I just saw on YouTube. It was a discussion between Dave Asprey and Peter Diamandis. They were discussing longevity, of course, and very interesting conversation that caught me. Number one, Mr. Dave Asprey claims that he's getting follistatin therapy and gene editing, the Clotho gene.
Gene editing. I'm an advisor to Minicircle. I've had the follistatin gene therapy. I'm about to go get the Clotho gene therapy.
Ah, nice. I'm excited to hear what your experience of Clotho is.
Etc., etc. Then the problem with this is, I keep saying this, what does this have to do with the loss of mobility and agility as you age? It doesn't matter what therapy you use. It doesn't matter what diet you eat. None of that matters. You continue to lose motor units. This means that your body will weaken, and there is nothing you can do about it. The Clotho gene therapy, the follistatin shots, none of this helps with the elephant in the room. You show your mobility. You're getting all this gene therapy. None of you are showing how you move. Show me how you run. You're 50-some years old? Well then, let me see. Forget about running like a 30-year-old. Let me see you move like a 40-year-old. You can't. So keep on getting those gene shots. Now, Mr. Diamandis, I like what he said. He said he's a team around the world with the XPRIZE, over 100 million. Who's going to come up with this to win this XPRIZE? But what they're concentrating on is how to be more mobile, to have mobility.
But with Peter Thiel on the phone talking about a longevity XPRIZE. And we kicked it back and forth and talked about it. And it was like, okay, are we going to wait 20 years to award this prize to see if we can statistically get people to live longer? Anyway, it died. And it was 6 years ago that Sergey Young, who you also know, one of my benefactors and board members at XPRIZE.
We're good friends. I'm seeing him in Dubai in next week, actually.
Yeah, please give him a hug for me. And he said, Peter, I want to do a longevity prize. I said, Sergey, been there, done that, can't figure it out. And he said, no, there's a way to do this. I said, okay. And he put up $500,000 of his own money to do the research. And what turned the tide for me was a fateful conversation with George Church. And he said, listen, you're asking the wrong question. And it was, listen, instead of talking about longevity, what you really want to talk about is age reversal. Because you can measure, longevity is going to take you decades to measure. Age reversal, you could potentially measure in a very short time. So that was one conversation. The second conversation we had was the idea of not measuring age, because there is not a biomarker for age per se. And all the aging clocks there's a lot of noise and a lot of variability, and I'm not sure I believe any of them. I'm curious what you think. But we said, why don't we instead measure functional aging? Meaning, as we grow older, there's a predictable sarcopenia curve, there's a predictable cognitive diminishment, there's a predictable immune diminishment, and all these things make you feel and behave older. And so the XPRIZE became, can we reverse your functional loss in immune, cognition, and muscle by at least 10 years with a goal of 20 years. And that's a measurable thing. In fact, the FDA will accept that as measurable endpoints, which was really important. And so with that in hand, I went out and raised that $141 million.
And they have teams, these scientific teams all over the world, working on trying to reverse mobility by only 10 years. Well, Mr. Diamandis, if you're watching this video, too bad it's by 2030. I'll be 66 by then. But I will show you by 66, and I'm not bragging here, I will be still moving the way I am today at a much younger age. I show my videos. I don't just talk, I show. So all these teams that are working on this mobility prize, let me see someone in their 70s, 80s move like someone half their age. You won't. You never will. Because none of you are concentrating on motor units. I mentioned this on my channel many times before. We start losing motor units in our 30s. Gradual. You don't notice this. But you are getting slower starting in your 30s. You start getting slower. Even the best athletes, even the sprinters, the long jumpers, high jumpers, everyone loses this starting in their 30s. Nobody ever asks why. It's the fast motor units, fast twitch fibers. Nobody concentrates on this. No one. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? These teams around the world, they could do whatever they want. They could study whatever they want, use AI, concentrate on human cells, duplicate human cells. I don't care what you do. You cannot replace lost motor units. Mr. Diamandis, you better tell your team to really, really start concentrating on this, because that is the elephant in the room. You don't have to believe me. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a rocket scientist. But you have been studying longevity 30 years. Mr. Asprey has been studying longevity 25 years, but yet none of you have concentrated on your mobility. You still move like someone your age, maybe even older. And I mean this in a polite way, because none of you show your mobility. To be able to train for longevity that long, why did you forget to train the fast twitch fibers and fast motor units? Why did you forget this? All of you. You can eat all you want. You can do what you want. I keep repeating this. By the way, that 100 million prize, hold on to it. Hold on to it. I promise you. I promise you. And I am not bragging here. Okay? When I'm 80 years old, I will be moving like somebody 40 years old. And that's a promise I make. You talk about longevity mindset all the time. Well, you just met someone with the longevity mindset since it was 16, 15 years old. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on vacation. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in my next videos in the future. I will be doing exercise videos. I will be speaking continually about motor units. I will also be interviewing scientists about the neuromuscular system and much more. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.